Making action plans and helping your participants to make action plans is a vital component of the Chronic Disease Self-Management Program. People often recount how action planning is a self-management tool that they use in their everyday lives, and yet it can go horribly wrong. Let's watch.
Now that we've completed our workshop for this first section, we would like to make an action plan. We told you what action plans are that we want you to make and share with the group next week. Who would like to be the first one to volunteer?
I will. My action plan is to walk around 3 times this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and my confidence level is an 8.
Thank you, James. Now we'll go to the person next to you. Lee, would you like to share your action plan with us?
This week I plan to run about 3 miles a day, probably 2 days this week on Tuesday and Thursday, depending on the weather. My confidence level is a 9.
Do you really think you can do that?
Well, yes, I thought so. Don't you think I can do that?
Well, it isn't up to me, is it? I mean, running 3 miles a day is a bit much. I don't even think I can do it. How about making something more reasonable?
He did not just say that, did he? This is a prime example of action planning gone wrong. Remember, the steps to action planning begin with a participant choosing something that they want to do. And action planning has to answer these questions: what, how much, when, and how often. And a confidence level needs to be reported. If the action plan is complete, then it's not the leader's responsibility or role to judge the appropriateness of a participant's action plan. Instead, it's the leader's role to help participants to make complete action plans that they feel confident they can achieve. Who knows, they may surprise you when they report back the next week.
The action plan flowchart is designed to help the leader make decisions on how to best help a participant make an action plan during the action plan activity that occurs in almost every session of the workshop. It contains common responses that participants may give when making an action plan in the workshop and provides helpful tips and suggestions for the leader. An action plan flowchart can help in 2 ways. The first is that the leader can use the flowchart to prepare for the action plan activity in the workshop. The second is that the co-leader can follow along with it during the actual action plan activity, reminding the leader if something is missed and keeping him or her on track to best help the participant.
Now, let's see how the rest of action planning goes in this workshop.
Well, what do you think I should do?
As I said, it isn't up to me, but if it were, I would try something much easier, such as walking. Don't you think that'd be much better?
Well, I guess I could do that.
Oh, well, good. Then tell me your success next week. Who is next? Kimberly? Tell me your action plan.
I think I'd rather not.
Not what? Make an action plan or tell us?
Well, either. I would just like to pass.
Well, Kimberly, this is the most important activity of the day, and I think you need to make an action plan, don't you?
Well, I don't want to make an action plan. I would like to pass.
Well, how do you expect to achieve your goals if you don't make an action plan?
I don't think that Kimberly should have to make an action plan. Why can't she just pass?
Well, this dialogue has gone on far enough. At least one participant is saying what others are probably thinking and feels like they need to defend Kimberly. This is never something that we want to see in a CDSMP workshop, because it threatens the trust and the mutual respect of the participants in the group and also the leaders. Let's see what happens next.
Well, it's okay if Kimberly would like to pass. We'll move on to Tony.
Okay, my action plan is to drink more water this week. My doctor said that I should drink 1 extra glass of water on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Thank you.
Well, thanks to our co-leader for getting things back on track and allowing Kimberly to just pass. Let's see what happens next.
Linda, would you like to share your action plan?
Yes, I'd like to share. My action plan this week is to clean out my bedroom closet. I've been meaning to do it for weeks, and I think having to make this action plan will help me do that.
Okay, Linda, so you're gonna clean your bedroom closet. Can you tell us how much, when, and how often you'll be doing?
Well, I'm hoping to clean all of it. I think it'll take me about an hour or so.
So can you tell us when you will be cleaning your closet?
Yes, I'll work on it on Wednesday and Saturday mornings.
So Linda, how confident are you on completing your action plan?
I'm very confident about my action plan. I'd say a 9.
Thank you, Linda. Now we'll move on to Ed. Now, did everyone get a chance to share their action plan?
Okay, so I think I'm ready to share my action plan now. I'm going to work in my garden 3 days this week for 30 minutes each day, probably on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if the weather's good. And my confidence level is 7.
Thank you, Kimberly. And I think that everyone has had their turn. Great. Thank you all for your action plan, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Now I'm going to talk to you more specifically about program fidelity. The responses of the first leader in this video alert me to the fact that there may be a bigger problem at hand here. The people who are responsible for your program's quality should explore whether or not this leader often behaves in this way in workshops, and if the leader needs retraining or should be a workshop leader at all. Sometimes new leaders are overzealous with the script and think that participants should be too. Leaders may think that if participants don't complete all of the activities, that they failed. Other times, this may be intrinsic to the leader's personality. Screening your leaders before training can help. And there are plenty of opportunities in training to identify potential problems. But remember, you should never allow someone to lead workshops for you if you're not completely confident in their skills.